Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Trans Tuesday. It is Tuesday, and we're talking about transgender topics. And today, we're actually talking about a little bit of a more serious topic. It is what is going on with transgender people in Ukraine. So let's get into it. Right now, people are having a lot of problems in the Ukraine. I mean, overall, of course, but specifically the LGBTQ plus community. It is estimated that there are about 100,000 queer people leaving Ukraine right now. But that said, there are estimated to be hundreds who are stuck in Ukraine right now. And a lot of that has to do with IDs. Okay, so let's talk about it. IDs are, what gets you in and out of any country. So this is passports, driver's license, those sorts of things. And what do IDs generally have? They have gender markers. And so, question is if I, a trans male, have my ID and I'm trying to get out of my country, okay, if I give the authorities my ID, what does it say? My ID right now, I'll tell you, it says female, and I'm a trans man. So in Ukraine, if I were a refugee and I were getting out of the country, if I were to hand my ID to the authorities and they see my face, they see I'm masculine, they read my gender marker as female, they would go, "Oh, so you think you're a man, huh? You want to prove that you're a real man? Go to war." That's how it would work. Or, let's say opposite way around. Let's say my girlfriend went to the authorities, gave them her ID. Let's say she hadn't had her name and gender officially changed yet, which is a very lengthy process. We'll get there in a second. She would have to go ahead and say, okay, here's my stuff. Yes, I am transgender. There's no denying it at that point. What are you going to say? And they would say, okay, well, you're still a man. You have to fight in the war. See, it's just a lose-lose situation no matter which way you're going. So it's not a great situation over there. What they got going on is very invasive, very intrusive, very dangerous. On top of that, it is dangerous to be trans in Ukraine, period. Okay, the crime rates are pretty high. The hate crime rates are even higher. It's not uncommon, just like in the US, where the police look on and shit happens, and it's like, okay. And it's not, the police don't necessarily side with the trans people, is what I'm saying to you. And so it's dangerous. It's dangerous for the trans people over in Ukraine. And a lot of human rights advocacy groups are actually advising that refugees lose their IDs. Because it's safer for them to not have an ID at all than it is for them to have an ID with a wrong gender marker. Apparently, men ages 16 to 60 in Ukraine are being stopped at all borders, told to join up in the army. And this applies to all the trans people. All the trans people are being drafted. All the trans people are being told, hey, you want to prove you're a man? Join up. Hey, you're not a real woman. We're never going to believe that you're a real woman, so why don't you just join up? It's dangerous. It's life-threatening. Not to mention the fact that there are already hate crimes going on. Not to mention the fact that people are on the fritz, so they're prone to be more violent and aggressive towards minority groups. We already see that with all the people who are more melanated trying to leave the country. They're not being helped in the same way that people who are lighter skinned are. It's very clear. Other countries such as Poland and Hungary might be more safe for trans people. That unfortunately is not true. These other countries are not very safe for trans people, and so trans people feel stuck where they are. They're damned if they stay, they're damned if they don't stay. It's a messy situation. Oh, you might just think, well, why don't they just get their ID changed? It can't be that hard. In the States, you just go through a legal process, answer some questions, maybe go to court. It's not the end of the world. Well, in Ukraine, it's totally different. There are very invasive processes that go on that they need to do in order to verify, to prove your gender. Um, there are physical exams. There are mental tests. There are psychological exams, and lots of people tend to end up having to stay at a mental hospital afterwards to recover from the process. Okay? This isn't just a nice little legal situation where you work out an agreement. This is trauma. This is medical trauma that we are asking transgender folks to go through. Not just hoops to jump through, but trauma to dig into, to get their name changed so that they might have a chance at survival. That's crazy. Um, if they don't get hate crimed first. Yeah, it's damned if they do, damned if they don't, damned if they try. I mean, it's brutal. You're damned if they stay, but if they try to go, they will be questioned and maybe drafted, or beaten and hate crimed, or if they do make it through, they won't have their IDs. It's devastating. It's devastating. To deal with this situation in the first place is terrible, but to deal with it on this level, it's a horror show. This is a short video, but it's important. I'm going to leave down below in the comments some sources, some resources that you can use to support these trans people in need, because these trans people in need are very in need. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye now.